A very good day to you, our viewers, both within and outside the country. It gives us great pleasure to be on your screen today again. And as we always say, this is a program that sees to it to ensure that the insurance sector is developed. And so this is your favorite insurance program, Insurance Matters, brought to you by Transparent Protection Ltd by Guarantee, an NGO that was established to ensure that the sector sits up, that the key stakeholders, they arise to their responsibility and do what is expected of them for everyone who takes on a policy to benefit from it. My name is Oluwole, your regular host on this program, and today we'll be looking at the topic group life insurance. Now, this is a very key area because I'm sure very soon our guests will begin to let us know why this is key in the insurance sector. And so to help me facilitate this discussion this day, I have with me an insurance expert who has practiced for a great number of years with vast knowledge in this subject matter. I'm talking about Mr. Oluwole Apata. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers.
Thank you so much. So, group life insurance.
Yes.
Like we always do, we try our best to break down whatever topic we bring here so that our viewers will benefit from it. I'm sure somebody may not have heard about the word group life because from experience, whenever we say insurance, what people know is third party and comprehensive. So group life, what is group life?
Once again, good afternoon, viewers. Yeah. My name is Wole Apata. Yeah, in a nutshell, group life is a death benefit scheme.
Okay.
Now, you made mention of motor, other lines of insurance business. All those other lines of insurance business, they are contract of indemnity.
Okay.
Why group life or life generally is they are contract of benefit, which means group life, as the name connotes, is meant for group of people.
Okay.
So it could be by an organization, a formal organization, a corporate institution. It could be a church setup, it could be a community setup, it could be friends that are coming together to form themselves into a group. So for as long as you are more than 3, you can always have group life in place. And like I said, it's just to take care in case there is death. So group life covers death, Though occasionally we can extend group life to cover some other supplementary contracts, maybe like disability, like medical expenses, but strictly speaking, group life covers death.
Okay, so is this kind of policy, is it compulsory by any means or by any law? Is it supposed to be compulsory?
Yeah. In 2004, the Obasanjo administration brought into being the Pension Reform Act that stipulates that every employer that has minimum of 5 should provide a group life cover for them. And the minimum cover is 3 times the total emolument of that employee. That is, in the event of death of any employee, that organization must pay a minimum of 3 times the total emolument. And the total emolument is the addition of the housing, the transport, and the basic salary. So we are saying if there is death, 36 times monthly benefit of that individual will be paid to the beneficiary of the deceased. So that is for a formal organization.
Okay.
A formal organization. But when it is an informal organization, of course there is an agreed sum to be paid in case there is death. So group life is statutory in Nigeria. Now in 2014, the Pension Reform Act was modified again. Now in 2004, it was 5 employees. Now by 2014, it brought it down to 3. So now for every organization that employs at least 3 employees, it is compulsory by law to put in place a group life. that must cater for the beneficiary in the event of the death of their breadwinner.
So I'm sure some people are wondering, so this kind of policy is made compulsory by law. Very soon we'll begin to look at its implementation, whether people are really doing what they ought to do, especially employees. But before then, maybe you help us out on this. We've heard people say, we have something where I work that looks like group life, but we don't even know how it operates. We don't know where we are on it. Is it possible for an employee to be able to monitor or have an understanding of this policy? Because like you have explained, it is something that is taken by the employer on behalf of the employee. So can the employee actually monitor it or have knowledge of it?
Definitely, an employee can always know that there is a welfare package called group life in place for them. But it should be noted here that it is solely funded by the employer. It is not a contributory scheme. So the employee does not contribute to it. But organizations, what they do is that they inform their employees, maybe through their representative, especially where they have a workforce that has
like a union or association. Yeah.
So they call in the union and tell them that yes, they have put in place group life for them. You see, the law says minimum is 3 times. There are organizations that go beyond 3 because the law only states
the minimum requirement.
It is 3 times. There are organizations that go beyond the 3. Even the items that make us the benefit, sometimes you can even go beyond because the law is just telling you that you should comply at minimum requirement. So organizations can inform even through their representative. You see, it is not an individual contract. So it's not a contract between maybe my own company and the individuals in that organization. It is strictly with the organization. So the organization can inform them. But there are some organizations who doesn't inform. But you know, because the law makes it mandatory for them to put it in place. So we believe that yes, organizations are complying even at minimal requirements.
You know why I ask that question is, we have had situations where somebody will say we have this group life, but we don't even know where the documentation is. We don't know what documents was executed on our behalf. Now, a quick one. So it's actually wrong for an employee to tell the employer, or for the employer to tell the employee that a part of your salary is being withheld as premium for this group life. So you are saying it's absolutely wrong?
It's absolutely wrong.
Okay.
Because it is solely funded by the employer. It is not a contributory scheme.
Okay, I'm sure probably you are watching us and you have an employer who tells you that a part of your salary is being kept and used to procure group life. You have heard it from our resource person these days. It's absolutely wrong. So maybe you might begin to think of how to take steps to address that abnormality. Now, help us out. If the government in its wisdom at a point in time made it compulsory, why? What are the advantages? Why should it be made compulsory?
You see, from the angle you are bringing it from, if you are looking at group life, even the major advantage is it is statutory.
Okay.
It is compulsory for every employer of labor who has minimum of 3 employees to put in place a group life that must pay the beneficiary, not next of kin. Because maybe we need to come to that.
No, yeah, we'll
so that put in place that group life that must pay the beneficiary in the event of death of the breadwinner, the man who is working. So it creates a lump sum. It creates an estate for the children, the wife, or those who are depending on this man in the event of his death. And apart from that, it's like a circle.
Okay.
It's like a circle. You know, in the primitive time, when we lose a breadwinner, what goes on then was that you see the family going from one place to the other, begging families to support the children of the deceased, which we can say passing the hat. But this day, instead of going through that route, group life can be put in place so that an estate is created at the death of the breadwinner and provides money for the children or those who depend on this man while he was still living. You see, another thing we can say that is an advantage is that it is only funded by the employer.
Okay.
It is not contributory. is not contributory. So the employee should just be informed that yes, you have a welfare package in case there is death. Let us have who your beneficiary is, or who your next of kin. Of course, next of kin is not beneficiary. We should make a demarcation between the two. So, and it is very cheap. It is very cheap. It is the cheapest insurance anyone could think of. It is not like an individual where we look at that individual, we look at his life, we look at his history, we look at his health, we look at everything about him in rating. This one, we look at the whole group entirely. And that is why it is the cheapest insurance that any group could buy.
So there's no need to begin to look at, you say this particular employee, let's look at his or her health status, let's look at her age, let's look at risk. All those things are not put into consideration in this kind of group life.
It is put into consideration when we are determining the premium to pay.
Okay.
We look at the age, we look at the salary.
Okay.
But you know, when it comes to individual life, strictly we look at the age, we look at the health.
Yeah, I know.
You see, there is tendency for us to want to rate higher somebody who has an impaired life when it is an individual life. But if it is a group life, of course, though we can look at the group, but this time around we look at the size of the group, we look at the age range of the group when we are determining what to pay. So, like I said, it is extremely cheap, very cheap to maintain a group life.
All right, thank you so very much. I'm sure our viewers are gaining from this discussion. Our phone lines will soon be on the screen, so you can feel free to join the conversation. Probably you have a question to ask, you have a concern, you have a claim on this particular subject matter that is still hanging, and you want to gain knowledge on it or know how to go about it. Feel free to call us on the number that will be showing on your screen. Okay, now you talked about beneficiary, you talked about next of kin. Now, relating to this group life insurance policy, can you give us a better perspective of who is who in this?
Okay. Now, when you talk about next of kin,
yes,
anybody could be your next of kin. Somebody can give an information about you. If something happens now, who do we call? Who do we reach out to?
Okay.
So that person could be your next of kin.
All right.
But when you are talking about beneficiary, you are saying who should enjoy the proceeds of insurance. So we should always make a demarcation between a next of kin and a beneficiary. So a beneficiary is the person who is entitled to the proceeds of insurance in the event of the death of an individual. A next of kin might not be the beneficiary. A beneficiary can be a next of kin. A next of kin
may not be. So who is actually entitled to probably process it or go to facilitate that? Is it even the employer who goes to facilitate the claim, or the beneficiary, or the next of kin? I'm sure viewers want to know.
Of course. You see, the employer will depend on the beneficiary to supply the information. Even the next of kin will as well supply the information needed to pay the claim.
Okay.
But when we are paying, we make a demarcation between the next of kin and the beneficiary.
Okay, so my question is, can the beneficiary solely go, now we are talking about assessing the claim, without any form of dependent on the employer? Must the employer be there? Yeah, how does it work? So practically, how does making claim on this type of policy work?
You see, when you are talking about making a claim, of course, the notification of death will come from the family of the deceased.
Certainly.
And to the employer.
Okay.
Because it is not an individual contract. It is a contract between between two organizations. So correspondence will always exchange between the two organizations. But the organization where the deceased passed away, we need to depend on the beneficiary to have those things. For example, we need the medical certificate of cause of death. So it's going to be supplied by the beneficiary, and the beneficiary will take it to the employer of the deceased. So the employer of the deceased are the ones who will now give to the insurance company whatever document they are asking to facilitate the payment of claim.
Okay, so you have probably talked about one document now needed in the in assessing claim. Now, apart from the death certificate, what other documentations are needed? You know, over time we have heard this issue of your documents are not complete, there is an error in your documents. Sometimes, you know, as an organization, we have had to take up certain issues, and what we hear from the insurance company is that this documentation is not complete. So can you let our viewers know, in this kind of policy, what are those documents probably that are key?
Now, when death occurs, the first thing we want is a notification.
All right, sorry, let's see if we can take this call. Okay, we have lost it. Go ahead.
The first thing we want is a notification,
okay,
that this person lived and died.
Okay.
So the moment we are notified, what we request for immediately is a certificate of cause of death. Okay. What led to the death of the man who was an employee of ABC or XYZ organization?
Okay, sorry, let's see whether network will allow us to take on this call. Hello, your name and where you calling from?
I'm Victor calling from Abuja.
All right, Victor, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Please, I like the issue you are discussing.
All right.
Now, I'm working in a place.
Okay.
I have opened my insurance account.
Okay.
They still say nothing has been paid. Whenever I call, they say that it's not only me that is having the problem. What will I do?
Are you talking of the group life of where you work? Is it group life?
Or an individual policy?
Or is it an individual policy or group life? There are two different things.
Yes, it's an individual.
Okay, if it's an individual, it's kind of outside the scope of our discussion. We are talking about group life. If it's group life or where you are working, then we'll know how to step in and answer that question. But probably some other time we'll talk about the one that concerns you now. Thank you so much for calling.
Or is
I appreciate it.
Or is he a beneficiary to a particular group life policy?
Okay, now let's assume he's a beneficiary. Let's assume he's a beneficiary, and he's trying to assess the claim, and it's not forthcoming. You know, that is like taking us to the next question. But let's see if we can combine it with what this caller has to say. Hello, your name and where you calling from? Hello. Okay, so like I said, let's assume the death has occurred and the beneficiary has been going to assess this claim and is not forthcoming. What windows?
Of course, you see, every insurance company is bounded by the contracts that they sign. That in the event of death, we will pay you so, so, and so. You see, the contract of group life is an agreed sum that is going to be paid at death. So when death occurs and you have notified us and you have given us all the necessary documents, now it is necessity is laid on us to pay you. So if this claim is being delayed, we always appreciate if the claimant continue to engage with this insurance company to pay. But where the insurance company are now refusing to pay, but I believe that insurance company that is viable, insurance company that is solvent, we always meet their claims obligations. But where they are not meeting, of course there are windows for us even to explore. And the most important is to report to NICOM.
To report to NICOM. We'll come to that reporting to NICOM. Let's see if we can take this call. Hello, your name and where you calling from? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, your name and where you call. Please tune down the volume of your television set.
I'm doing that now.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, I like the program that is on air now.
All right.
And I'm likely to key into it. I want to find out what are the penalties if an employer refuses to meet up with the requirements for the insurance cover. My name is Elder Theophilus. I'm calling from Season 5.
All right, Elder Theophilus, thank you very much for the question. I'm sure my guest here will respond to that quickly. All right, so what are the penalties?
Now, every organization, like we said earlier, they had been bounded by law to put in place group life policy. Now, where your man dies in an active service and nothing is forthcoming from his organization as benefit to the children or to the wife or to the beneficiary. Of course, you can sue. You can sue. The law says they should comply at minimum of 3 times the annual. So you could sue for say 5, you could sue for say 10. Now it is the law that determines what is going to be paid. So at any time you loses any of your people who died in active service and nothing is forthcoming from the organization, you can explore the avenue of litigation. You can sue the organization.
Okay, you know, this question is very key. Our phone lines are buzzing, but let's dwell on this a bit. Now, if the law has made it compulsory, is there any measures put in by the law to ensure compliance, or is it just left at the discretion of the employer? Now,
we all know the situation of our country. Every employer to an extent may want to dodge their responsibility, but we are talking about something that is statutory. For example, you must insure your car.
Okay. Now that we have people who have tendencies to dodge from this, what is your advice? Do you have any advice for the government on this? Because it's not enough to say this thing is compulsory and there is no penalty on the part of the government. We understand that there is the law court is there to address certain issues, but on the part of the government, do you have any advice based on this?
You see, thank God for what we are doing presently. Of course, we are letting the public know what they should do. That every organization, it is made compulsory for them to put this in place. So we should continue to, because number one, if government themselves, because I know that government put in place this group life for the employees of federal government.
Okay.
So if government has taken the step of doing so, then others should follow. Others should follow. And that is why we have bodies that we always ensure that a family that has not enjoyed the proceed, the supposed proceed from their breadwinners organization, of course, there are steps you can take to get that done.
Okay, you know, we are here for the masses. Let's see if we can take this other call. Hello, your name and where you calling from?
Good afternoon. It's Musa calling from Gwagwalada.
All right, Musa, go ahead.
I'm very much interested in the issues you go and discuss.
All right.
The question you asked and that has not been answered.
Okay.
What are the necessary documents that required?
Okay. Necessary documents required to assess the benefit, right?
Private or fund that severally. Thank you.
All right. So
quickly, let me talk about the documentations that are required. Like I said, number one is the notification.
All right.
Then the second one is the medical certificate of cause of death.
Okay.
And this medical certificate has to be issued by the hospital that confirmed or that certified the deceased dead. Now, we will require a police report where the death is as a result of an accident. Now, these are the major things that are required for us to effect a claim for anybody who brings up a claim on group life.
All right. I must appreciate you for your in-depth analysis of this subject matter. I'm sure our viewers sitting down at home, they are gaining from this discussion. And so, if I get you right, it means that whether an employer takes on this policy or not, where an employee dies, the family members can sue on this subject matter.
They can sue.
That is to say, you were supposed to have taken this policy and you refused.
And instead of asking for three times,
you can ask for 5.
You can ask for 5. You can ask for 10. So it is the law that now determines what is going to be paid.
All right. So please, employers out there, you are hearing us, and probably if you have not done what you need to do, that is why we are here on air to amplify these issues, to carry out this advocacy campaign, to see how to develop the insurance sector. And we are open to sponsorship. Probably you want to be a part of this program. Maybe you're a brand, you have your organization, you have your company, you also want to come on the studio here to talk about what you do. We have that package. Our number is on the screen. You can reach us, you can call us, and then we'll discuss further on how that can be made possible. We have been talking about group life insurance, and you know, it's interesting to me because it's one of those that ought to be very compulsory. I won't let you go before asking you this question. Now, from your years of experience, will you say that insurance companies are really settling claim in this area?
Yes, I will tell you.
Okay.
I will tell you. Now, I work with ICO Insurance PLC.
Okay.
ICO is a foremost insurance company when it comes to settlement of claim. ICO, as at today, is #1 in Nigeria, and I know that people take clue from ICO.
By which statistics? By which? Other people want to know by which statistics, by which, who conducted that survey and came to that conclusion?
You see, I have been in this industry for a while. I knew when we were not #1, and at the time we climbed to the top of the ladder, I know,
okay,
and we are #1.
Okay, since you are not providing us with the authority or the statistics, well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so very much, Mr. Oluwole Apata, for coming on board. Transparent Protection Ltd by Guarantee is very grateful to have you on this platform, and we'll continue to be grateful to NICOM for their massive support, for which we have remained on air. And to you, our teaming viewers and supporters, we say kudos to you, because without you, we won't be here. Once again, my name is Godswill Egede. Until by this time next week, when we come back on your screen, I will say be insured and be assured of help. Thank you so very much.